So yesterday, Battlefield 6 got a new patch, the 1.1.1.5 update, which was a bit of a quality of life update to fix several issues currently in the game, including finally the recon drone bug that was causing problems on some of the maps. Today, the devs put out a community update talking about what's going to be coming to Battlefield 6 throughout the rest of Season 1 and beyond, what they're going to be fixing, what they're looking at, what's currently in development in terms of being fixed, things of that nature. So there's a lot to cover in today's video, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. But before we do that, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications set to all so you don't miss out on any of the Battlefield 6 content here in the channel. And let's just dive right on into it. They talked about how Casual Breakthrough has been a pretty good mode in terms of balancing the player experience. A lot of people are big fans of Casual Breakthrough because it's been giving them a sort of break from dealing with a lot of different kind of player interactions, and also it just makes it a little bit easier for some people to progress through challenges and weapon unlocks. They are looking into adding a Casual Conquest mode for the future as well, so it looks like player feedback and numbers have been pretty good on Casual Breakthrough, and it looks like Casual Conquest is going to be coming soon in the game. So recently we also got some challenge and assignment updates that went live on November 5, and they're seeing actually higher completion rates on those challenges, but they are still going to be working through fixing any challenges that they find still have problems or really low player completion rates, things like that. So basically they said they're going to continue monitoring the data and feedback to make sure the balance feels good. Recently they also reintroduced bots to verified experiences in response to player feedback. Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush now each support up to 12 bots, and rounds begin once 8 players have joined to maintain a balanced experience between both players and bots. PvE bots and custom portal experiences, however, were unaffected by this change. In the recent quality of life update that happened yesterday, they also fixed some other problems that were going on in the game aside from the recon drone bug. Those included things like the lock-on IFV missiles, the countermeasures from jets and things like that not working against lock-on missiles. They also fixed a little bit of the weapon dispersion and movement in relation to that. So those things have been feeling a little bit better since that update. The game overall, I personally felt, was more smooth and a bit easier in terms of the gunplay. Now, what's currently in active development? Some of these things are going to be split across the next 2 content updates. So the next content update coming up is on November 18, and then the third one is going to be on December 9. So for November 18, we've got the California Resistance update. And with this one is going to be the Eastwood map. So the Eastwood map actually does look pretty good in terms of how it looks from an aerial view. The actual layout of the map does seem to be a step in the right direction in terms of map size, HQ sizes, things like that. So this looks a bit better than what we've been having so far with things like Blackwell Fields. I'm hoping that we can get great maps going forward, and hopefully this map actually feels good to play on with the update. So the first thing under active development right now are weapon dispersion or bloom fixes. So they've already made a small tuning pass that reduces how quickly dispersion and recoil build up during sustained fire. Dispersion adjustments will apply to all weapons, and most weapons will receive recoil tuning. And they said that these changes are going to make weapons feel smoother and more consistent, especially at longer ranges. And they're going to continue to monitor these updates and refine them based on gameplay data and community feedback. So yes, we are going to be getting even more bloom fixes that should make that whole system feel better, because a lot of people have had issues with bloom, with accuracy, with actually hitting their shots. So hopefully these things are going to feel better soon. The next thing that they've talked about that's currently in active development are lighting adjustments and visibility upgrades. So another big problem that many people have had with Battlefield 6 has been lighting and visibility. They've already made some improvements on lighting between interiors and exterior transitions with exposure, and yes, those things do feel noticeably different than the launch version of the game, but they are going to continue refining the visibility and related visual effects. They want to make it so that it's a little bit easier to see enemies in varying lighting conditions. I currently think that some of the problems with this game are just, for example, in Blackwell Fields, the sun is too bright from multiple angles sometimes, making it really difficult to see, but it looks like they are going to continue working to make this feel better. The next thing is challenge clarity. They're working on challenge descriptions and tracking to make progress easier and to understand and follow. In terms of Fort Linden and Portal, they're going to be adding more segments of it to Portal for more community experiences. In terms of aim assist, I talked about this in a video the other day, but yes, they are actually going to be changing aim assist to make it feel more like the open beta experience, make it feel smoother and more predictable. So infantry aim assist and infantry aim assist slowdown have been reset to match the new values, and infantry aim assist zoom snap settings are only active in single player and portal experiences and not in multiplayer. So those updates are going to go live with the California Resistance update in a few days. The next set of updates that are currently in active development will be releasing on the December 9 update, which is the Winter Offensive update. So in addition to a new limited time event and a new melee weapon, there's going to be a couple of other fixes. Now, of course, these can always be changed or added onto depending on how the California Resistance update goes, but for now, these are currently what's coming in the December update. So the first thing is Vehicle Balance Pass. They've made an initial tuning pass to smooth out some of the biggest balance outliers between vehicles, and so we should expect to see more consistent vehicle combat. Breakthrough has been adjusted, so several maps in Breakthrough have been updated to improve balance and flow. So for example, Sector 1 in Maroc Valley now has fewer available vehicles and adjusted capture zones to help the attackers make better progress. I'm really excited to see especially Breakthrough changes because I do like Breakthrough as a mode, but currently the way the maps are set up for Battlefield 6 makes it really difficult to enjoy as much as I was hoping to enjoy it. And then for Rush mode, they have made some improvements where they've updated MCOM placements on Manhattan Bridge and Liberation Peak to create smoother attack routes and more engaging objectives. They've got some more things that are currently under review, and these are being actively explored and tested, but they don't currently have a confirmation on the timeline for it just yet. So the first thing is map design and size, which is probably going to be one of the more focused on pieces of this community update, but map design and size has been a pretty big topic of discussion in the Battlefield 6 community. They said that they've seen our comments about map size and pacing, and they said that Battlefield is at its best when maps offer different ways to play and constant action around every corner, and they want to strike a balance basically. So they are committed to a variety of map types across future seasons. With Eastwood arriving in the California Resistance update, we will continue monitoring existing maps and modes for targeted adjustments like what's planned in Winter Offensive while learning from community creations in Portal. Now, it's nice to see that they're currently going to be working on what maps are there and adjusting those as well. Some people, I saw some reactions online in regards to the line where they said here that constant action around every corner. Some people were a bit concerned about that, thinking that the maps are still going to end up being small, very fast paced, no room for kind of thinking, that sort of a thing. But I think what they mean by that, I don't think it means like literally like Call of Duty type action around every corner sort of maps. I think what they mean by this is that there should be something happening and that you're not just running for 5 minutes at a time for no reason. I personally don't think that constant running to no avail just to end up getting sniped or something and not actually be able to get in on the action is a smart way to design these maps, but I also don't think that it should be run 5 paces and you're just immediately thrown into this crazy sort of situation where you don't have any room to even hide behind some cover and think about what you want to do. I do think that striking a balance, like they said here, is important, so hopefully they can achieve that with the future maps in this game, and if we continue getting constant map updates, that would be great as well. The second thing they mentioned here are challenges. They said that they're reviewing challenges to better support the sandbox gameplay that sits at the core of the Battlefield experience. They didn't really add more detail to that. Then for the UI and movement, they said they're looking into adjustments that will roll out over time with the goal of making navigation more intuitive, from settings menus to equipping earned skins to discovering community experiences more easily. So definitely another huge problem with Battlefield 6 has been the UI and the menu, kind of looking a little bit like that style that you see in all of the new games these days, or what people call the Netflix kind of style of menu. So I don't think personally that it's the best kind of system for a game like Battlefield 6. I think a bit of a simpler, easier menu to navigate would be great. So it's nice to see that they are acknowledging that this is a problem and that they're going to be making some adjustments in the future. For player stats, they said they're exploring expanded player stat tracking, including per season details and other improvements. And then for social play, they said they're evaluating ways to make it easier to group up with friends and resolve issues that may prevent smooth session joining. Another huge one obviously is hit registration and netcode. I've said this a couple of times in my own videos, but they said that they are investigating improvements to hit registration, and this work is closely tied to potential updates around TTK consistency as well as bugs such as sometimes dying when behind cover. So definitely I'm really hoping that this is going to be coming a lot sooner and that we don't have to wait all the way until season 2 to see improvements on that front. And then for the vehicle ecosystem, they said they're reviewing the overall vehicle experience to ensure balanced combat across all-out warfare modes and map types. I'm guessing this is more in relation to the people who use air vehicles. I think this is kind of what they're talking about here. Now, of course, they did mention RedSec as well. And in terms of RedSec, basically the way it looks like going forward is that RedSec is going to coexist alongside Battlefield 6 and get constant updates and things like that. One of the first things that they said here is audio performance. So a lot of people with RedSec have been having issues with footstep audio, so they're actually going to be looking into fixing these sorts of things so that they are more consistent. They also are going to be probably adding a solo mode for Battle Royale. They're also investigating the potential for an accessible Battle Royale mode with a relaxed playstyle or a casual battle royale, which is probably going to be something similar to what we've got right now in Battlefield 6's casual breakthrough and things like that. They're also reviewing the current action time and availability for armor plating. This is definitely something that I think is kind of a weak point in the RedSec battle royale right now. With armor plating, I don't think that it makes sense how slow it is, so it looks like they also have kind of seen that it's just too slow. And they are also going to be exploring possible adjustments to tank frequency and placement within battle royale matches. Another pretty big complaint about RedSec right now has been the tanks, just because they're kind of indestructible, and once one team gets a hold of it, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to win. They didn't say they're removing tanks, but adjusting the frequency makes sense for this sort of game mode. I think what Battlefield 6 is doing with their community engagement is really solid. It's definitely a good practice, and I think that more game studios should be doing this level of communication where they're actually actively engaging, listening, and taking note of feedback. And it does seem like they have been working through a lot of the most common issues with this game right now, and that they are going to be making some much needed fixes for the future. Hopefully this game continues to get better. I think it's currently in a great state right now as well. Even with all these problems that exist in the game, I really don't think it's a bad experience. So the feedback is great, the community engagement is great, and so far the gameplay is great as well. It's definitely one of those games that I've been enjoying. I'm really glad to see Battlefield making a good comeback after quite a couple of years of downtime. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, how you feel about all these adjustments, updates, changes, things like that. Be sure to also like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications set to all so you don't miss out on another upload. And that's all for today, folks.